So you've been wanting to knit a ranunculus, but you haven't. And I think we know why. First of all, 12-page pattern, that's scary. And then it's like, with all those sizes, what size do I knit? And what needle do I use? And it all becomes so confusing that you shut down. But today we're going to teach you the secrets of knitting a ranunculus. Stay tuned.
And I said, you have just made my day.
I am so excited to share this with you because I know that from reading the comments on our podcast, so many of you want to knit the ranunculus, but you really just don't know how to get started. And that usually involves knowing what kind of fit you're going to end up with. As we know, the pattern shows photos of sweaters that are very large and very open weave. And many of us do not want that. We want a sweater more like the ranunculus I'm wearing today. So you're probably wondering, how on earth did she do that? And how is everyone else knitting a ranunculus that fits them instead of knitting a ranunculus that's oversized? So this is going to be really fun for you to learn, because once you do, you're going to make multiple sweaters. I guarantee you. These sweaters are fast. You can customize them so many different ways, and every sweater you knit is going to look completely different. So even though you're knitting the exact same pattern, it's going to look like you're knitting many different patterns. So let's get started. The first thing you're going to want to do is copy off the pattern or get a piece of paper, because we're going to need to take some notes and do some math. And I really would write ranunculus number 1 on top, because I guarantee you will make more than one. And then find the yarn that you want to make your sweater with, and you have to make a swatch. This is one of the most important things that you're going to do. So what I suggest is starting with a needle size 2 sizes bigger than what your yarn calls for. So for instance, if your yarn calls for a size 6, start with an 8. And I say that because one of the great things about the ranunculus is that it knits quickly. Well, they're assuming you're using a size 10 needle every single time, but we know that we don't always want a size 10 needle and the size that a size 10 needle makes. So start by knitting a swatch. Now let me also share that you can have a tighter traditional sweater fabric, or you can have something airy like this, what Dinah knit. Dinah's from the Knitting Place, and she made a beautiful, I'm sure that's lace weight ranunculus. So how did she do that but yet keep it not oversized? I'm going to show you how. So the very first thing you need to do is figure out the fabric that you like with your needle. Hold it up. If you're like me, you want something that's not going to show your bra strap. So I knitted the largest size needle I could and not show my bra. That for me was a size 8. So the first thing you're going to want to do is knit your swatch, hold it up, make sure it's the fabric you like, and then write your needle size on your piece of paper or pattern and write body needle. Now, the next thing you're going to want to do is you need to find out how many stitches per inch you have on your fabric. You can use a gauge, a measuring gauge for that, or just pin 1 inch, but figure out how many stitches per inch and write that down. Now, the next thing you're going to need to do is know how big you want your sweater. So for instance, my sweater is not a big, baggy, oversized sweater. And I got this size frankly, from a sweater I already had. So if you have a sweater that you already love, lay it down on your bed or a table and measure it from right where the sleeves begin across to where the sleeve, and write that number down and call that front inches. Now multiply that also by 2 because that's your complete body size inches. So now that you have your stitches per inch, you know how many inches you want to make your sweater. Now we're going to jump into the math. So the first thing you have to do is write your stitches per inch, and then how many inches you want for your sweater. In my scenario, I wanted 45. Now, one thing we have to remember is that we will be casting on some stitches underneath, and that can add as much as 2 inches to your sweater. So what I did is I took 45 minus 2 because I'm going to be adding those 2 under here. So I actually have 43 inches. Now you're going to take your finished inches, which is 43, times your 4.5 stitches per inch, and that's 193. We'll just say 193, we'll round down in this scenario, body stitches. Now in the Ranunculus pattern on section 4, there are 2 charts. The first chart shows you your stitches prior to adding increases. The second chart in section 4 shows how many stitches you have after your body increases, and we want to focus on the front stitch count only. So what you're going to need to do is take your full body stitches and divide that by 2. It's 96.75. Now find the front measurement, and it says 96 stitches are on the front after your increases. So in order to get the sweater that you want, you will be following the directions for pattern size 6. That's it. It's really quite that simple. But the main thing is you can make a Ranunculus sweater with any type of fabric that you want. It can be open, it can be closed, and it can be as big as you want. As I said before, a traditional sweater has 4 to 6 inches of ease. The Ranunculus goes from 11 to 16 inches of ease, which is why it looks so large on all the models and the pictures on the actual pattern. But you don't have to have it that big. You can have airy and fitted, and you can have traditional closed up or tighter fabric and fitted. Here's the thing, you can make a sweater any way you want. So I hope that really helped you, and Susie, what do you think?
I know I was right. You enjoyed that. And here's what I know. You're going to make a Ranunculus, and you're going to make it the right size. And I think I'm going to make my first Ranunculus too. Linda is a great teacher.
Oh.
Hope you enjoyed the video. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.